Okay, here we are back for the second episode of the I Hate Car Salesman podcast, coming to you from Schaumburg, Illinois. My name is Sean, also known as Go For Real 216 on social. This is Kevin.
How you doing, guys?
And today we have one of our senior sales associates. He actually led the board last month, I believe. You lead the board last month?
Yeah.
In sales, Dennis Peoples.
Yeah. How are you?
So Dennis is a tenured salesperson here at the facility, and I thought it would be good for us to have another Schaumburg Honda salesperson on here and give you guys a real good idea of what it's like as a sales associate, professional salesperson that sells a lot of cars, dealing with some of today's issues and challenges and successes in the car business in reference to sales specifically. So I wanted to start out by talking about one of the biggest problems, guys, that we have today in selling cars as a whole. One of the biggest challenges that we have and we come up with is negative equity. Right. You heard of negative equity recently?
Of course.
You heard of negative equity?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, and I know we got a lot of non-car people out there, negative equity is the difference between what you owe on your trade and what it's worth. So what's happening is people bought cars at the height of COVID and the chip shortage and paid $3, $4, $5, $10, $20,000 more than the cars are worth.
Right.
So what's happening is 2-3 years later now, those people are looking to trade out of their current vehicle and get them something else. But what happens is since they paid so much a couple of years ago, they owe in some cases $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 less, or they owe that more than what the cars were. So the cars are worth $20,000 less than what they owe. So so Dennis, I'm going to start with you. So what is the biggest amount of negative equity that you've come across here recently?
18,000.
Jeez. What was that on?
That was a luxury going into a Honda because they thought I'd lower my payment going into a Honda.
Yeah.
And basic math kind of prevails, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Situation.
Well,
people get over their heads, over their skis.
Right.
In a luxury item that they can't afford, and something changes in their livelihood.
Yeah.
And they need to downgrade.
And it's crazy. And Dennis, I mean, 18,000 is a lot, but certainly not the most that we hear about. You know, we're at a Honda store, but you know, if you're at a Mercedes store, I mean, if you're at a Lexus store, I mean, these people were paying 50,000 over MSRP.
Mercedes.
On Mercedes especially. So you're talking about people being flipped is what we call it, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So like that $18,000 person, did you sell them a car?
We did. They sold them a car.
How'd that happen?
It took a while because they were convinced that they were coming out of a luxury item and going down into a Honda, so their payment should reduce.
Yeah, should. Right.
I said, you owe money on that car, so you don't really own that car right now.
Right. And I think that's the biggest misconception, Kevin, is that when people go from a luxury item to, let's call it a Honda, you know, they think that they're going to lower their payment, but you know, for every $1,000 in negative equity they have, it costs about $20 a month.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are out there.
Yeah.
So
honestly, it's $17 to $20 roughly, depending on your term and whatnot. But
right.
Yeah, it can be really a truly scary situation.
I mean, so if you're $20,000 flip, your payment is $400 just on the negative equity.
Absolutely.
That's before you buy another car.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that they're going to lower the payment, but in essence, when you have, let's even call it $10,000 negative equity, which I think you've come across a couple of those recently.
Yeah, just recently. I think the last two deals I think one was maybe 8,000, the other one was 10,000. Sure, I know when I worked with Peoplis, it was 10,000. Honestly, it's just sometimes people just don't take the best care of their car, and that little bit can really just turn into 10,000, 20,000. If Mercedes, a curb rash on a car could be $5,000. You know, you never know.
And God forbid they're in a lease.
Yeah,
what if they're in a lease? That's even worse because, you know, if you're coming out of a lease, you've got a very high residual, you know, and again, if you're not taking care of your car and you're over on your miles, I mean, you feel bad for people. There's no way you can.
It's the truth. Yeah.
Because
it's almost hard not to feel bad for anybody because you want to put yourself in their shoes as a salesperson, you know, so it really can you can see someone almost like like they're almost lost, like in their eyes sometimes, and they just don't know how the situation is. So.
Yeah, I mean, so go back to that $18,000 situation. I mean, Dennis, I know it's probably a long time ago or whatever, but what kind of car did that person buy? Do you remember?
They went into a CRV.
Okay. Any idea what the payment was on the CRV?
They were paying roughly $850, and it went up to $1,100.
And their trade-in was what kind of car?
It was a Mercedes.
It's a sedan C300
It
or
was
something.
yeah. It was
Okay. So they went from a Benz to a Honda, and their payment went up $300 a month because of the negative equity.
and they didn't have the best credit.
Yeah, that's a killer. When you got the negative equity and a sub 650 credit score, now you're tacking a rate on top of that negative equity. So that 200, that $20 a thousand, maybe that's 25 a thousand now.
Right.
I mean, it can just get out of hand. So it's crazy today that the public is not, I don't want to say it's the public's fault, but they're not educated enough to know, holy cow, I paid over MSRP for this car 2.5 years ago. And now I've got all this negative equity. They still come in here thinking I'm going to lower my payment. And, you got to be the bearer of bad news.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to overcome.
And, I mean, you just have to be gentle about it and kind of coax them down.
Yeah.
The first excitement raises them up, and then you got to bring them down by now.
Right. And the initial, Honda just being cheaper that's not how that works.
No.
With loans, obviously, you guys being in business much longer than I have, even me with being so short in the business, I've met people similar to my age. Just funding for them. So it's just almost scary. I feel bad for them too. It's kind of scary that nobody knows, the general population doesn't know, even with the information.
It is. And that goes to, so something touching on having a gentleman like Dennis here, who's a seasoned salesperson, sells a lot of cars. One thing that I would say to his credit, and if you're a salesperson out there, listen close, because I will tell you that the best salespeople in the world do this. And Dennis does it. Maybe it's naturally, maybe it's a craft that he's created and, massaged over the years and developed. But the days of selling a car are over. Today, it's selling a relationship. You just happen to have a car as the item that you're going to do business with that person. But Dennis, would you agree that today, more than ever, selling a car is more about building a relationship with somebody, right? Because you're not doing the old school anymore, asking all those old school questions and, walking around and popping the hood. These people know the car better than we do. So,
right. Absolutely. 100%.
So, I mean, what do you do? Again, as a seasoned vet, somebody that we respect, you sell a lot of cars. How do you build such a strong relationship with people that you met 5 minutes ago? Because I see your people with you, and they're locked into you.
He's probably the best.
They're locked into you.
Yeah, Dennis is probably the best at that.
I literally just try and help them through the process, because everybody comes in with the same thoughts, scares, that it's going to be the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
And you just go, hey, folks, we'll go as fast as you want or as slow as you want.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
We'll handle it the way you want to handle it. I'll make it as easy as possible. You don't like the car, I'm not going to be offended.
Right. But my question would, to push back a little bit, not to put you on the spot, a lot of salespeople say that, but not a lot of people build the relationships the way you do. So give us some, give us some secret sauce.
You're an exciting
give us some secret sauce.
I mean, give us children laughing, joy. Everybody.
I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Anytime you have kids come in, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the best part.
And people say, well, I didn't want to bring my kids. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's perfect because this is your life.
Right.
This is what you do every day. So why should it change now?
Yeah, you can tell he's a family.
And I just kind of keep it going towards them.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's something that you would think that as a salesperson. Kevin, I know you haven't been in sales your whole life, but obviously you're moving quickly and starting to succeed quickly. Not everybody has that. I mean, not everybody has what Dennis has, the ability to just bond with somebody, connect with them. Like I said, any salesperson could say, we're going to do it your way. It's money's the easy part, but I care about you. I mean, that's what they all say, but it has to be genuine.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you have to care about it. If you show that you're putting your best foot forward always, they'll kind of just follow you along, they'll go with you.
And I would say too, another thing, and we don't want to make his head too big. It's big enough already. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that I have seen him deal with people that he doesn't sell a car to.
Right.
Still build a relationship.
100%.
I see you do that. And I guarantee you, a quarter of the deals that you sell each month come from a guy you didn't sell before, but you built such a great relationship with that when he was ready to buy a car, he goes, "No, honey, we're going to deal with this guy." Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have people that don't buy cars that still send people there.
Right.
And say it's
gets food sent to him and stuff like that.
You get a lot of stuff sent and brought in, and hey, I'll stop and buy. Because I tell them point blank, there's a lot on this car. Bring it back anytime. Pull in, call me up, and I answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I become their friend.
Yeah.
And it works out in my benefit because I send more people in.
That's not even. There's nothing malicious there at all. It works in your benefit because that's what you deserve through the process.
Well, I think people could sniff out when you're genuine.
Right.
You know, I think people can sniff that out. You know, we may think, that they believe us and they may be shaking their head smiling, but really when we walk away, if you haven't earned it, like he hasn't, like I watch you do, if you haven't truly earned it, you walk away. And if you were a fly on the wall, you'd see him talking to the wife like, hey, that guy is, what I mean? I'm like, you kind of, so they really can tell if you're being genuine or not. And that's what, car sales, in my opinion, today is all about. It's so much less about the car than it is about the relationship today. So I think that's one of the blessings that Dennis brings to the table that I think earns him a lot of money and income. Now, I wanted to talk about your history because I think that plays into it too. Tell us a little bit about your golf history.
I ran facilities for 23 years and got out of that due to amount of hours.
Yeah.
So I got into this work,
Car business.
the car business.
Right.
So,
like 4 hours, right?
Right.
For 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was working 100 hours a week.
So you were never an owner operator, weren't you? Was that your own business or was that?
I ran facilities.
Okay, I got you.
They weren't my facilities, but I ran facilities. So I
Gotcha.
managed facilities.
You play a little golf too, can't you?
I play a little bit.
Yeah.
I played a little bit. I used to be better, but I played a little bit.
We all used to be better. That's great. But I think it's funny because the golf industry ties, I get on my videos, why do car salespeople wear golf shirts? First of all, most of us like to golf, but there's a direct connection between like being in the golf world and, believe it or not, and the car business, because like people do business trips that, have business meetings at the golf, right? I mean, they do because it's such an easy way to build rapport.
Absolutely.
You're out there. It's great. And there's nothing going on. You know what I mean? It's not like a restaurant or a bar or something like that. So I think that helps you in a way, being around that golf world.
Absolutely.
Because
anybody that brings in guests to a golf course want to feel special.
Yeah.
In front of people they bring to.
For sure.
Same coming through this stuff.
That's kind of like the aura always there. Like you walk into a golf course, it's almost always beautiful. The grass almost like cut with scissors,
Everybody's kind of always in a good mood. Mm-hmm. I used to golf a lot. I never went to a golf. I never showed up at the golf course and had the starter or the guy who took my money at the counter, like, be mean. Right. Or in a bad mood. Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm at a golf course. Right. Like, how bad is my life? Right. How bad is this?
How bad could it be? Right.
Yeah, well, it's usually summer and all that too, I guess.
True.
So
nicer areas too.
They're probably not as nice when it's snowing.
Sure.
So I think there's a direct correlation between, like industries like golf and the car business. Or if it's not direct correlation, it's an easy transition over.
Right.
Kevin, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, how's your start on social media go?
Yeah. So far, I mean, I've kind of just been taking a really big, jump almost. So from the beginning, I mean, I really.
You want to shameless plug your at so everybody follows
Kev sells cars.
Kev,
send me a follow, TikTok, everything. Yeah.
Kev sells cars. And then what is it on Instagram, Kevin?
Instagram is Kev sells cars IG.
Now that's nifty. Who
thought of that? There,
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I think it was you that created that.
How's it going with it?
So it's going great. I mean, obviously with your help a little bit, or not a little bit, with your help in general, I kind of just did like a jump up, like almost like a cliff, right into like a good middle area. Obviously nothing blown up just yet, but I mean, for me, it's a lot of product knowledge and like really linking up with customers and talking to them and like showing like I want to be engaged with them. So I think a lot of people have realized like what kind of person I am, and I like to talk and even just like talking to DMs about cars. People have been asking me questions, and it's really cool. So I really enjoy this. Podcast is really cool too. I mean, as you know, I like to talk, so that works out really well.
He hasn't taken a breath in 40 seconds. That's amazing.
You
could be like an underwater diver or something like that.
Like, a 6 minute.
You don't need any breath. You don't need any breath.
It just gives you another avenue. So
it's fun though. It
feels special.
Yeah.
Because they can reach somebody.
It's fun.
100%. On social? Yeah, is that what you're saying? Yeah. I mean, that's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
And like, you're not posting enough. We've already had that conversation, but you are growing and you're getting engagement with people. And that's another thing. And I know Dennis is actually eager to get started. He wants to get started social too.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the relationship building thing that I'm talking about, guys. It's about building relationships. And social media today is like, how do you compare it to going to the Rotary Club back in the day, or wherever it is that you went, where you networked and met people, and tried to mine for car deals or for customers.
Right.
And the nice thing about social is you're not invading on anybody's space. You post a video. If they like it, they like it, and they follow you, and maybe they share and all this stuff. But social is where relationships start. I mean, not just talk about marriages.
Oh, 100%.
How many people you know that have met on social?
A lot of
like
people
on Facebook.
My generation, a lot.
You know people who have met and ended up together off here. Oh yeah, on Facebook. I was on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it happens.
Well, I think you linked your Facebook to Tinder even too, so it's still.
I wouldn't know anything about
so.
Tinder.
Well, that's my.
I don't know anything about
that's
that.
my era. So that's where my era.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. There's is there an over 50 Tinder?
There might be actually.
There probably is.
I don't have Tinder.
You can send me that link. So
right. I don't have Tinder, but I'll have someone check that.
Sure, he doesn't.
Just in case you want that,
Yeah. No, but I mean, social media, guys. And Dennis is going to see, because his personality, he's got a winning personality. He's going to stand out on social. You're already starting to see it. But that goes back to the whole point is today selling cars is so much more about building a relationship. And, people getting to know you on their phone by scrolling, and they go, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I think I'd buy a car from that guy.
Even if it's informational, funny, whatever it may be.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's at the same time, you get the negative equity thing against us today. So that's an uncool thing to be dealing with right now.
But it's a reality.
But it's a reality. And then you got the cool part, which is social, which, so it's a cool time to be in the car business. And the negative equity situation is such a hot topic with customers. And I think that people need to understand that we want to roll as little negative equity as possible, do we not?
Absolutely. Most of the time, negative equity for us is a bad thing.
Right.
We don't want to hear it either.
We don't want to hear it, and we don't want to roll negative equity for you. It makes it a higher payment, which is tougher to close as a salesperson. But not just that. Like, we are giving more for trades and try to suck up some of that negative equity. So people are seeing extremely fair trade values right now, because as a used car director, I don't have a choice but to give you a lot for your car. You owe 30. If I only give you 15, the bank's not going to take the deal. I got to give you 20.
Right.
And we've seen that too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's definitely affecting our ability to acquire cars from private owners. But I think Honda is a great brand to be dealing with that, because the banks love Honda, the product, so they'll give you good advances and stuff like that. Another thing I wanted to ask Dennis was, so for all the salespeople out there, and this podcast, is really, we're car guys at heart. Yes, I'm on social media and he's on social, and you're going to be, but at the end of the day, we're car salespeople, and we want to see other car salespeople succeed. If you, as a guy, seasoned veteran, high performer, what would you say if somebody was starting out brand new, and you could give them one paragraph of advice, one sentence of advice for a brand new person? What would you say to that person?
Stay out of the muddy water.
Yeah.
You'll find around a dealership people complaining about this, that, the other, the last deal. Focus on who you have in front of you. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
If people they'll realize you're nervous. This is your first deal. Play it into the whole atmosphere of the car deal.
Yeah, you're right.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just have fun. Say, hey, folks, this is, I'm just starting out. I'm pretty bad at this, and I'm glad you're here to help me.
And people love it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing from the salesperson perspective, because it's not like you're lying. It's just, you're just trying to drop that seriousness. You're really just trying to be comfortable and just show, like, I'm a guy. I'm here to help you. I just want to make you happy and show you what I got. Let's see what we can do.
Right. And don't ever be afraid to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll find somebody that knows.
Right.
That's you might know everything about these cars.
That's so much better to do that than know the answer right away. Finding out the answer can sometimes build more trust than the other option.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's something that, is just invaluable for people. When you go out there and you say that, hey, I'm kind of new, and somebody hears that, their guard goes down too, because it's like, okay, he's not this old crusty car guy who's got tips, tricks, and magic words that's going to rip me off. I mean, he's a new guy. He doesn't really even know what he's doing, let alone how to rip me off.
Right.
And so the new thing, that's great advice. A guy I used to know said, no matter how long you're in this business, you're always new. just stay new.
100%.
Just stay stupid.
Yeah,
That's what he used to say.
absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a popular one. You know, I think knowing too much sometimes you almost ruin your own deal. You know, you can ruin your own car deal by knowing too much information.
You muddy the water.
Yeah,
You muddy
exactly. You get
muddy the
stuck.
water.
Yeah,
I love
you get
that.
stuck.
You do, and you know, as salespeople, we're usually pretty. I don't know what you would say what the word is, but let's just say that we get in our head a lot. Let's just put it that
Yeah,
way.
Absolutely.
And if you're a salesperson and you start overthinking and getting in your head, that's how guys get into slumps.
Yeah.
I would say again, go back to Dennis, our top salesperson. If you're in a slump, you know, for some reason, one reason or another, how do you get out of that slump? Is it basically just going back to basics? Is it working harder? I mean, how do you?
You actually just get dumber. You just go back to basics
Right.
and just go through the system.
Right.
Show them the car, drive the car, go
Right.
through the numbers and say, hey, you know, I don't know all the numbers, but
Doesn't
I'm going to get
happen
them
too
for
often.
you.
I don't think it ever
No.
happened. I think I maybe heard it one or two times that you've walked up and like, man, I need a deal right now. I think that never happened.
Well,
Yeah,
I said this about him the other day. You know
Yeah.
why that is? Because even though he doesn't want to admit it or
Mhm.
realize it, Dennis actually follows the process very well. Now, he might go on his own slant. He might, you know, he might take a little bit of a left and then go to the right. But at the end of the day, he follows the process. He makes the people fall in love with the car, make sure they're on the right vehicle. Lots of information gathering, a lot of information gathering, relationship building. And, you know, the best part, and, you know, again, this is for both of you, but Dennis, at this point in his career, and you will get there, I know you will, there's no close. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate when I
agree.
get, I need closing lines or closing techniques.
Sure.
If you do all the things right,
You just
the meet and greet, build a relationship, find the right car, it's not a hard close.
Yeah,
You ever have a hard close
No,
anymore? I don't think you do.
All I say is, are you comfortable with purchasing the car?
Right.
That's it.
Right. And half
Here
the
we go.
time, if you've done everything right, and you guys can vouch for this, they kind of close themselves. They're like, okay, what's the next step?
You assume the sale.
And they're, you know, like, oh, okay, I guess we're good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's like number one thing they tell new people, right? Like assume the sale. Assume you're selling that person a car. You know, unless they truthfully tell you and they don't want to buy a car, then don't make them. But
Customers can sense that you want to sell the car.
that's veracity.
You get anxious.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah.
you know, you're
100%.
sitting there,
Yeah.
and they can sense that.
And it costs you gross.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm a customer and I see you're nervous, I'm going in for the kill. No, I'm going in for the kill. Okay, this guy needs a car deal.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to go work his manager for me like a madman.
True.
I just got to keep saying no for a while.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
But if you have kind of chest out, chin up, I tell people, act like you just sold 4 cars.
Right.
Act like you just sold 4 cars,
Yep.
and you'll probably sell the next car.
100%.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember one time when I worked for a Jeep dealership way back when, I just remember getting a comment from a customer that were really kind of nice, and it wasn't aggressive or anything. They just pulled me aside. They're like, hey, you walk with confidence. And I got nervous and a little embarrassed. I was 21, 22, but they're like,
We were all confident we're 21, 22.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. She's like, no, I mean it though. Like, you really hold yourself well. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I feel like that can kind of be it a little bit too, like how you hold yourself, but like you can kind of tell, like when someone's saying, oh, how walking.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Walking slow, fast, but a little pep in the step, I guess you could say. But yeah,
And you can address it early. Right from the beginning. Sometimes I'll say, look, you want to buy a car? I want to sell a car.
Yeah.
exactly.
And you create an enemy in the managers and say, well, let's figure out how to do this.
I think that's one of the best things you could say. I want to sell you a car as bad as you want to buy one.
Yeah.
You know, so it really
Yeah,
just
and it's
shows.
okay to admit that. Like, they know that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's okay to admit it, but again, the confidence factor is just, I mean, I told Mohammed in a TikTok the other day, confidence will sell you more cars than anything else that you can learn. And, you know, again, we don't want to give Dennis too much credit, right? But he has an air of confidence about him when he's in a deal that he kind of just feels like everything is going to go the way I want it to. And the customer feels that. So they get comfortable.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And, I think for me, you know, I've been around hundreds of sales people. For me, it's a pleasure to work with people who know that building a relationship is first, not selling the car.
Yeah.
Stay confident. You know what I mean? And then when you come up to the desk, you're such a more informed salesperson that as a manager, it makes my job so much easier.
Oh yeah.
If he comes to the desk right now, I know what he says to me is the facts. That's true because he's done the homework with the customer. So he's going to tell me, and he might hold back a little to kind of, he might work the desk a little bit too. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll have
Right.
story then.
Yeah,
I'll walk up and just start telling you a story while you're sitting there.
Right. But I mean, it's nice that as a manager, it's nice to have that confidence. Like, okay, if I do what this guy just told me, we got a cart. Because
And that's another point. You have to be confident that that's too.
Yeah.
You have to be confident with your management.
And you got to be able to talk normally, between each other. Because with the deal, you want to be professional, but like you got to be able to have some kind of flow going. You're going to talk a little bit, figure out what's going on, get comfortable, drop the seriousness down a little bit. So make it fun. And I think he does a really good job making it fun. So
I think that we are all blessed to be able to be in the car business, and it is long hours, and it's not manual labor, but it can be hard work and taxing. I think a thing that Dennis said is very important for us to all remember, myself included. Listen, when we walk through these doors, the first thing that we should be thinking about is how do I have fun today?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I'm here to make money.
Right.
I mean, okay, we woke up to try to make some money, but the best money that you can make is the money that you make while you're having fun doing it.
Sure. You gotta have fun.
Right? It ain't fun to make money and through like stressful, you know what I mean? It's so much better when everything's fun. And I think that a lot of people out there, again, salespeople, if you're out there, and managers and owners, dealer principals, you have to create a culture of energy and fun and transparency.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I watch Dennis do when he walks around and talks to everybody all day. It's always positive. It's always a little joke here and it's always a little snippet here. And that helps the entire culture of the store.
Oh, yeah.
I
think
mean,
Dennis walks in the store and he's got like a route when he goes and sits down. I think every person.
Absolutely.
The guy has talked to everybody in this store today. I promise you, at least once.
Yeah, it's the best too. Everybody loves it. Even if it's a weird thing that he says, who knows? But whatever you get as the people that work here, it's funny. It's awesome. It makes you laugh.
I don't know if somebody wants to buy me lunch or not.
Yeah.
Right. But the funny thing is, and again, salespeople, if you're out there, I mean, if you don't, I gotta take my word for it. Go off of what what Dennis does.
Yeah.
Because most car salespeople don't realize, they don't think about it. They might know it if they take time, but there's 5 to 10 car deals a month in this store. In every store, it's depending on the size of the store.
Sure.
There's 5 to 10 car deals a month within these walls.
Oh yeah.
And I watch him get a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
And that's from walking around, building the relationships, right? Sure. How many deals would you say you did last month? I mean, I know you did at least a handful, right?
Probably 8.
Internal. Did you do that many?
Internal deals.
Yeah.
But
Dennis is the king of service and parts.
Mechanics need cars. Everybody needs cars.
Yeah. And I think we forget that, that the people around here are not, they're our internal customers is what they're called, but building those relationships throughout the day, it's invaluable because again, when they need a car, who do they think of? There's 30 salespeople here. 8 of them last month thought of him.
Right. The guy that made you laugh and the guy that was seriously trying to sell you the whole time, like trying to close you the whole time.
And that brings us all back full circle to selling cars today is building a relationship.
Right.
It is not selling an item or an asset or money or an interest rate or a trade value. It's selling relationship. And I hope that, from this short podcast today that some salesperson out there will be watching and go, you know what? I'm going to go do tomorrow what Dennis does. I'm going to go walk around the delership.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hi to everybody.
That spark, get the spark going.
Right. Maybe just give them a pound, you know what I mean? Pat on the back or something.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
and care about, and really care about you. And if you do that, you'll make more money. You'll have fun doing it. And I think, Kevin, I'd love to see you focus on social more and let that personality come out because you have a winning personality. But no one sees it because you're not posting it.
Right.
And so now big guy wants to get started. So now we're going to have to have a contest. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, yeah, it's important, and a lot of people get nervous, like nobody's going to like them. But if you really think about it, people watching you are the ones that kind of like what you're doing anyways. The ones that see it. So the content will fit what they're looking at and it'll go from there. So,
yeah. So in closing, so we got, if you're a new salesperson, Dennis says, I would agree with them. I think you would agree. stay out of the muddy waters.
Right.
Right.
Because there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of muddy waters in a
Especially in this
dealership.
business, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
No.
there really is. But it's so much cleaner than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but
A lot
there's still some mud. There's
yeah.
still some mud.
When I started, I think was when the little bit of a fall off of being style of car sales. So like after that, it's more into modern, more versions of it.
But it's people getting in their own heads.
For sure.
They muddy their own water.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you need to stay clear of that.
Yeah.
You give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
You know, so that's good. So yeah, so we'll wrap up this episode. Obviously, you know, if you're listening or if you're watching out there, you know, give us a subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to us, please. Give us a follow on social at GoForReal216, at CabSells or CabSells IG. We don't have one yet.
Yeah, and Dennis, we're gonna.
He's gonna be user 99999. You know, he's gonna be one of those. You know what I mean? So, but we'll get that out there. But so yeah, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a follow. And again, if you're new out there, guys, listen to what Dennis is telling you. Have fun doing it. Stay out of the muddy waters. Build relationships with people. Post on social. Post on social.
The more you post, the more comfortable you get. So
and that's about it. You got anything to close with, Dennis? Anything else you want to say?
I got nothing.
Thanks for being on today.
No problem.
Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Anything? Any words of advice going?
All the younger
words of
guys, there's a
wisdom?
lot of young guys in the car business. You know, listen to people like Dennis and Sean. You know, these guys are like great people to just have a conversation with. You just get words to say, word tracks, and word tracks aren't as popular, but sometimes it's just making conversation. So,
Yeah. So you use the people around you, but I love to stay out of muddy waters. I'm gonna use that one.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a TikTok about it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, give us a follow, and I hope this helped you. But we're going to be doing this a little more often. We'll be on here once a week. This is a crazy store. We sold 350, 400 cars last month. So sometimes we plan on doing things, and it just doesn't happen. But stay tuned. We'll get another episode out soon. Thanks for watching.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.